Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Welcome in to Wildcast Studios for another episode and our debut on Rogers TV to the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solutions, the premier destination for appliance and storage solutions in Moncton. Right now, they got the dependable savings event. Save $150 when you purchase any two qualifying Maytag kitchen appliances. Save $300 on 3 or more. Qualifying purchases must be made before next Wednesday. As always, fan listeners, and for all our new listeners on Rogers TV, I am your host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by your favorite co-hoster. Let's see, Mr. YQM, Mr. Draft, Mr. Big Brother Aficionado. I think that's pretty much it. Mr. Jeremy Boucher, man, is there anything better than this time of year?
We've reached the final point of the 6-week training camp.
Yes.
We're about ready to kick off the regular season, and I couldn't be more excited.
It just takes too long. It helps us preseason wise for our preseason shows, but teams in the OHL and the WHL are getting back to thing, and you're seeing the media guy or the media days for them now setting up everything, and you're like, what? Oh yeah, they start 2 weeks after us, and it's too much, and we all know why.
We do. We can't do anything about it.
Nope.
We got to live with it. But it's over. We are finally reached the point where the games are actually going to start to mean something. And Friday is only 2 days away.
Yeah, 48 hours the season kicks off in St. John. Before we get there, we got some business to attend to on the TV side of life. For those that are just joining us on Rogers TV, we'd like to keep you up on the pop culture that we watch, and then we get into the hockey. But Amazing Race ended. The two Edmontonians, Taylor and Katie, won in Edmonton, finishing up with the memory challenge and then going to Commonwealth Stadium. And as much as I wanted my baseball team, Tyler, Michael, and Tyson to win, if a team's going to win, A, I'm glad it wasn't Kevin and Gerline, and B, it was a hometown team finishing in a hometown. I think that's pretty cool. But I guess just your thoughts on the finale. We saw 4 teams. They didn't cut one. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought before the actual showing of the show, I went to the TV guide, and because I thought maybe it was going to be a 2-hour special.
So did we, yeah.
You know, the 4th team being eliminated in the first hour, and then the finale being in the second hour. But no, it was a 1-hour show with all 4 teams competing. And overall, I think this season was one of the best. They just continuously get better, and it's already been renewed for season 11. Unfortunately, Adam, that's going to be kind of in the middle of a hopefully long playoff run. So I don't know if our audition will be for next season. But
and by our audition, he means him and my wife, and they will represent the podcast because I can never be on that show.
No, you'll be my partner. We'll kick butt on the physical challenges, absolutely, because we are the most in shape
ish,
team you could ever possibly imagine.
You know what's funny is you like watching this and then watching MasterChef, and of course we're going to get into Hell's Kitchen here sooner rather than later. Not today, but down the road. Do people who go on these shows not watch these shows? You know there's like 30 of them down in the States. You know there's going to be a memory challenge.
Yep.
You know there's going to be a wall challenge in MasterChef or a tag team challenge in MasterChef. You know what these challenges are going to be. I'm like, and it's probably a long day and a lot of pressure, and I get that. But I'm like, none of them had notes. The team that I've ever seen that had detailed notes was that the States one with that TikTok couple.
Right.
And she had notes for everything, and they just went by, and they were quick and fast. Yeah. It's like, how do you not watch this when you're going to be on?
I'm starting to wonder if that's some sort of a rule where they can take notes, but they can't bring it with them on the leg. They have to study it at the hotel, because I was a little surprised by that too, that there was nobody pulling a piece of paper out of their pocket.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that memory challenge was difficult.
I honestly thought the Mahjong tile green thing was the rider's bench, like something with the riders.
And the seaplane had looked nothing like a plane. Like it was extremely difficult. I wouldn't have known what half those pictures were, and I guess that's why we're not on the show quite yet. We need to do a little more studying ourselves.
I thought it was funny the shack in Miramichi at the what's it called where they stand on the mat?
The pit stop.
The pit stop. Hey, Michael and Tyson, you sat there for 2 hours staring at that thing.
Instead of throwing rocks into the river.
Yeah, you'd think you would have, I don't know, maybe remembered that one. But
good point.
Yeah, no, I think that's the first time both of us have had a team in the final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and none of us got it. So there's no bragging rights to bring into the show this week.
Do you remember Team Dorothy and Olis?
Were they like the first or second team out?
They were the second team. She was the one that's complaining about her leg.
Or her leg, yeah.
You know what their Instagram is?
What's that?
The Lovers XO.
Beautiful.
When you go to Bell Media and all the teams, it's got all their Instagram handles, and theirs is both of them is the Lovers XO. So
amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. But again, you guys aren't always here for our amazing race takes, but Hell's Kitchen.
It's 2 weeks away,
and it's going to be quite good and different, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this I'm not sure if it's a twist or what have you this season, but it's head chefs only. So the competition is going to be extremely, extremely competitive. These are all well qualified chefs, I guess, and so no line cooks, no prep cooks, no caterers. Nothing like that. It's head chefs going at it for a head chef job. So I'm really, really excited. And it's not filmed in LA. Did you know that?
It's filmed in Vegas, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
It was an East Coast filming. It was filmed in Connecticut.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's a different studio, different venues. So it's going to be a completely different season. And I'm looking forward to that as well.
I'm excited for that. As always, don't forget, you can follow us on the social medias: Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast. And if you're watching on Rogers TV, head to our YouTube, smash the subscribe button, click the little bell so you don't miss anything this season. We are going to be full of a lot of content, so click that bell. You're not going to want to miss anything. We got a bit of a jam-packed show, so let's get to the news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the league presented by Integrity Lawn Care. Looking for some fall cleanup, don't know where to start, or just really don't want to do it yourself because you either want to go golfing or you want to spend all day watching football or training for the amazing race. Give them a call at 506-866-8218 or email them at integritylawn.care@hotmail.com. One trade to announce, 20-year-old giving up assets. It's not St. John this time. They did that earlier in the year. It is St. Hilaire. I almost said Miller. It is St. Hilaire being acquired by Rimouski for a third in 2025 and a fifth in 2027. As Miller went down with a bit of an upper body injury. I don't know if they said what it was, but
shoulder.
We had rumored his name to be out there a few times, and we're told he wasn't with Sherbrooke. It wasn't anywhere at their camps or anything like that. And he's surfacing after getting back from LA Kings camp.
Yeah, well, he's still there.
Yeah.
So he won't be reporting to Rimouski until he's released by the LA Kings. But yeah, that must be a big blow to Rimouski because they paid a pretty steep price to acquire Canton Miller last season, expecting him to be their starter for the Memorial Cup. But he's out 6 months, so he won't be back until playoff time. So that was the reason for the acquisition of St. Hilaire, and
it's going to give them quite a choice when he comes back, right?
Well, yeah, but you have to think. I mean, what kind of shape will Miller be, right? I mean, I don't think they're going to just go and give it right straight back to him. I can't see that being what's done in Rimouski. So I expect St. Hilaire to be their guy all along, and They've got William Lassell as their backup, good young goalie, and so I just can't see them, turning the page and come playoff time and just giving the starting job back to Miller. I'd be very surprised if that yeah. Game out of the Memorial Cup, he's the starting goaltender. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I can't see it happening.
And according to L'Ancet, the 2025 QMJHL draft will be in Quebec City in June again. I was last there in 2019. I was kind of hoping for Gatineau. Just because I want to see that rink. But hey, that was our first draft 5 years ago. That's where this draft coverage kind of all got started, from the stands, second row, so we could get onto the Wi-Fi. Those who helped us, appreciate you. And so to go back and do what we do, but actually be media this time.
Yeah, being on the floor is a different thing. We'll see. I was pretty impressed with the lunch here in Moncton for the draft. So Quebec's got some big shoes to fill, and
maybe one of our guests will know what the lunch was if they can remember back 5 years ago, because we weren't there for the lunch.
We were not there for the lunch, no. So Sherbrooke, unfortunately, in terms of media lunches, you're last place so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see Quebec. If you can maybe throw a poutine in there for the media lunch, that would immediately get you ahead of Moncton.
Please do that for anyone listening. Hasn't quite been announced yet, but for any of those that want to go to the Q website, look up the media guide, go down to page 10. The CHL USA Prospects game will be in London, Ontario, November 26th, and Oshawa, November 27th. So I don't know if you want to plan to go see Denwier in London and Oshawa.
I think that's breaking news.
I think that is breaking news. I
haven't seen it posted anywhere.
No.
So if that was not supposed to be said, well, you shouldn't have put it in the media guide. Yeah. And for those who are waiting for dates and locations, you're welcome.
Yeah. I just went through the media guide. I was waiting to see if we were part of that media guide. And as you scroll down, it highlights the Christmas trade period, when the World Juniors is, when that CHL USA Prospects game is. I was like, well, that's going in the news. So I guess we'll find out if we get in trouble for that. But hey, if I can find it, you can find it. So, and a little more on the jersey news we talked about last week. I said it was in London. It might trickle into the Q. Sherbrooke now has the Poulet Rouge on their jerseys.
Poulet Rouge.
Yeah, oui. And it was on their Instagram. And so basically the CCM logos moved to the middle. Q logo is on one side and then the sponsor on the other one. I think the Q just needs to, and the CHL in general, just needs to take a page out of the NHL and put the tiny little logo on the collar, leave an open space for a captain or assistant, a Memorial Cup patch, and then your sponsor. Like, quit trying to jam all these jerseys in there. It's too much.
It's getting convoluted.
No, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. That's kind of it for news. It's a slow news week. And
that's okay. Next week we'll pick up. We'll have more stuff to talk about next week.
We got 2 guests this week, so we should probably kick off to those if you are ready for that, my good man.
I am prepared.
Let's go.
View from the other bench.
All right, we are back again for our Maritime Divisional Preseason Primer, and we continue just down the highway. They finished 20, 39, 5, and 4, earning the reward of crossing over to face Drummondville in the first round. We are pleased to be joined by friend of the show, leading friend of the show, Mr. Jamie Tozer. Jamie, how has your summer been? Where in the continental United States are you this time?
I'm actually in the continental Nova Scotia, I guess you could call it. I'm in Halifax right now, so I guess hockey's near because I'm talking to you guys from a hotel in Halifax. I feel like I've done this like an insane amount of times now. So regular season here, I actually didn't get up to a whole lot this summer. I kind of just stayed around here because actually, nice spots around here in the summer, right?
You're running, well, A, yeah, and B, you're running out of rinks. Like you just got to go back to Brampton, and that's the only one left, isn't it?
That is the only CHL one left. Yeah, Brampton. Obviously, just thrilled to make a trip to Brampton. So yeah, I can't wait to go there. I've actually been to that rink too before at a Brampton Beast game. So not overly excited about it, but got to do it. Got to get the full 60, right?
Hey, and since we broke news here, maybe you can figure out a trip around that November 27th, 26th, 27th weekend, right? Or week, I guess it would be Tuesday, Wednesday. Just before we get into your team, how do you feel about the CHL USA prospects? We kind of talked you up in the booth at the last Kubota game, but just like, I guess your thoughts on this USA Canada wrinkle in a new rivalry.
I love it. And I think I like it because this is the biggest rivalry in hockey for our generation. Like the Canada-Russia thing, that was great back in the day. It's still great when they do meet, but the Canada-USA is by far the best international rivalry in hockey right now. Maybe Sweden-Finland, something like that, but certainly for Canada, this is the biggest rivalry right now, and on and off the ice. So it adds so much intrigue, I think, to the rivalries, being able to see it. And I'm really curious to see just how this American roster kind of comes together, because I'm still a little bit confused over what their roster actually is going to consist of. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to send to London and Oshawa.
Wouldn't it just be their U16 development roster that feeds the World Junior roster?
I don't know. Like I guess maybe, but I feel like sending, like an under 17 roster to face like the top Canadian junior team might not be a good idea. So like, I'm just kind of interested to see what that roster actually consists of, or is it just like a USHL all-star team, or what's going on here?
Yeah. Cause I mean, they've got the USHL has a team in its league that's USA Hockey under 18, right? And they compete against, the entire USHL. So there's got to look at some of the players will likely be from there. Wildcats legend Colt Eisman will likely be on the team as well. That's for me.
Well, now we have to go to see Eisman and Denway.
That's it, right? The master recruiters.
Yeah,
the McDougals will definitely be in attendance trying to get Cole to report to Moncton. Yeah. But if anything, I mean, this is going to develop a rivalry between this younger age group for when they face off against each other a year or two down the road at the World Juniors, whether it be, in that New Year's Eve game that we've seen against the USA, or for all we know, a gold medal game.
Yeah.
Right. Like I love it. I think I'm extremely excited to see, the really best on best go up against each other.
The timing is key too. I think, like, you look at the time, it's before the World Juniors, which is great. So it's going to kind of be used like the Canada-Russia series as a bit of a tryout for the World Junior teams. And it's also before exam time for the colleges. So that's good. And it's midweek too. So it's not like these college kids are going to be missing weekend games either. So if we do see a lot of the under 20 NCAA guys coming too, which would be a lot of fun, I think that opens the door for them where it's scheduled.
Yeah. And I just got my little pocket schedule that you can pick up at the Center. And I didn't even realize there's a whole week off in the final week of November. So I kind of could have figured out roughly when that was going to be. But we got a few months with you on the show to talk about that roster when it comes out. Let's get to the team you actually cover. Maybe that's a precursor to what could happen this year. But I always like to start in goal, and SeaDogs, again, like last week with the Islanders, stop if you heard this before. They acquired a 20-year-old goaltender in the offseason, bringing in Gravel from Baie-Comeau. I guess just how much of this is getting in on the 20-year-old market a little bit early to potentially move a piece at the Christmas deadline if somebody misses out on Rousseau or Mercer, or how much of this is allow a veteran in net to allow these young kids to just go play, and if you make a mistake, it might not be in the back of your net with a bit of a more veteran goaltender.
Yeah, like to your first point, I definitely think there's a bit of that. The door is definitely open where if Gravel comes in, has a terrific first half, the SeaDogs can certainly trade him to a contending team, assuming that there's a contending team that has like an overage spot available or willing to make available. So I definitely think that options available, and what the SeaDogs gave up for him, I feel like they're able to potentially get more in return at Christmas, especially in a Memorial Cup year, than what they gave up. So I think that's a win for St. John there too. But I think from a team perspective, I really like this trade. I think Justin Robinson, who was quote unquote a backup last year, kind of split the starts. I think he has a lot of potential in this league. I think he is poised to be a number one, but the sample size is too small to really label him a number one yet. And I think having the insurance of Gravel plus the mentor I think is key. So I like certainly if Robinson is excellent in the first half, I think that makes trading Gravel a lot easier too, especially if Robinson is going to kind of carry the team in the second half. So I think it's a win-win from all perspectives. I think the weird part is probably going to be the fact that Gravel, who's an excellent goalie, I think he's probably going to play 50% of the games. Like, I don't think he's going to see more than 50% unless Robinson really struggles. Like, I think it's going to be a pretty even split because I think St. John sees a lot in Robinson, and ideally, as they move into their contention window, maybe St. John finally has a number one goalie they've developed instead of trading for one every single year. So I think that they want to make sure that they can give him the room to grow that he needs.
Looking back at the draft with the two top picks and Rozzy and Ured, it was an interesting summer because, of course, we saw that Rozzy went to USHL camp with Youngstown, and I think a lot of people in St. John kind of got worried about that. But I guess how much, as a SeaDogs supporter like yourself, how much weight was that off the shoulders of the fan base when you see that he in fact decided to sign with St. John?
Yeah, the team never really, at least publicly, came out and showed a lot of nerves. Like, they seemed pretty confident that both of them would report. But I'm sure that there were a bit of nervous times because it's not very common that someone you take in the first round goes to USHL camp just as kind of a look and feel. Like, you don't see that a whole lot. So I'm sure there was a bit of nerves, but I think it was huge. I think if St. John had lost one of those guys, I think that would have been a pretty big blow just from the fan base perspective, given that it's been some down years here. I think that they kind of need some of these young top players to come in to have some excitement around the team. So I think if either of those guys hadn't reported, it would have been a pretty big blow on and off the ice, but certainly huge having them. And certainly the expectations, I don't want to say they're low, but we're not expecting these guys to come in, put up 50, 60 points right away. So I think that they're,
why not?
Why not? Yeah. It's actually funny that a lot of people probably don't realize that no SeaDog has ever won Rookie of the Year, which is kind of weird given that so many players have won, or have so many players have been so great over the years for the organization, but maybe this is the year.
Just following up on that, based on what you've seen in the preseason, is the chemistry still there between him and Ured?
Yeah, a little bit. You saw it a little bit at times, but not a ton. And there were a few times where they were separated, and a few times where they were together. But we didn't really see a whole lot of opportunities where they were kind of connecting. There's a handful of times, but not a lot. But I'm curious to see maybe when they're playing consistently a little bit more together, if that chemistry kind of shows up a little bit more.
So in terms of this team, and we talk about veterans on it, you got Tyler Peddle. How much of it will be on his shoulders to kind of, and Matejko, to score for this team? Because they've got Gravel to try and keep the puck out of the back of the net, but where is it to put the puck in the other side of the net?
Yep.
Because generally young teams don't win 3-2, 2-1 hockey games. So where is the scoring going to come from this group in St. John?
I think that's one of the biggest questions for this group. Peddle and Matejko, they can only do so much, right? And even Peddle, he's a guy who's struggled with consistency in his career. He's certainly going to be put in a position to succeed and to produce offensively this year, but he's got to show that consistency that he showed in the second half. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Matejko and Peddle to really lead that offense. Same with Egan Beveridge. If there's some question marks over what's going on with him and whether he's going to report or when he's going to report. So I'd kind of throw him into that group. Cohen Miller was excellent last year in the second half as well. So there's a handful of guys who, if they can consistently contribute offensively, I think that this team's in a pretty good spot. But the question is, can they do it? Is going to kind of be the big question.
Yeah, a lot of people will talk about the youth movement in St. John, but especially in the forward group. But one player that already has the size, NHL size, let's put it that way, is Cruz Scanzano, another Lac St. Louis guy. What have you liked from him in camp?
Yep. Awesome name, first of all. So he's already got that. He's already got that for him. Yeah, definitely a big guy. He's shown some physicality. Definitely the foot speed's kind of the big question mark. I think, there's a few times in the preseason where he kind of got burned at the blue line where he couldn't quite turn. And there's a couple times where the puck kind of went into his feet and you could tell that his foot speed just wasn't quite registering quite enough. So I think the biggest thing for him is going to have to be that foot speed and how he can improve that moving forward. But obviously has a size. Certainly good that he has some chemistry with a couple with Yared and Rozzy as well. This is a pretty decent defense group for development. I think, we got some older guys like Matteo Mann, if he comes back from pro, Nate Tivy, Nicola Bilodeau, unless he gets traded at the second half, like that's a pretty, 3 decent players with some experience to kind of work with. And at the same time, he's going to be put into, some situations that he wouldn't on a contending team. So I think it's a pretty good situation for a 16-year-old defenseman to come into, whereas, he's going to kind of be shielded a little bit by veterans, but at the same time, he's going to be able to be exposed to some situations that he wouldn't be otherwise. So he's someone I'm really curious to watch throughout the year, because I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on Rozzy and Yared, but I think that he'll be interesting to watch.
So I guess just the last one from me, and it's usually the one I finish up on, and that's fans' expectation in St. John. And is it staying in the own conference and getting a win in the playoffs? Is it making the playoffs? Is it buy a couple forwards to score in the second half? What is the fans' expectation? Because I'm sure it wasn't playoffs last year. It was just develop, and they squeaked in and rewarded with Drummondville. But just kind of what's your thought on what this fan expectation will be this season?
Yeah, I know for my expectation for this group anyway, I know it seems to vary amongst the fan base, but I think if this team can improve at all on last year, I think that is kind of a win for this group. I think making the playoffs is great. If they can have more wins than last year, that's a bonus. I think that this is going to be another long year. I think that this is going to be a challenging year. But I've seeing this team play in the preseason and kind of being in the smaller rinks and seeing them closer, you can tell that there's a positive vibe. And I think the coaches and the players kind of know what they're getting into here, that this isn't going to be a contending year. But I think that they're kind of going into it with a very positive attitude. And you can tell that there's a positive mindset with this group, saying that, let's just get better as we can as throughout the year. And I think that that's kind of the proper mindset for a team like this. So I think the expectations are low, but I think if they can improve on last year and show steady improvement throughout the year, and then next year, maybe they can kind of see if they can get to that 500 mark. I think that's kind of where this group's at right now.
All right, Jamie, last one for you, and I think you probably know what's coming. We ask it to you every year. And of course, you have your ability to change your choice at the after the Christmas trade period. But looking ahead to the finals in probably mid-May, who do you see facing off against each other, and who do you see representing the Q at the Memorial Cup in Rimouski?
Well, I thought a lot about this. Moncton, I think, is my pick to win it all. So I have them in the final. I would never bet against Gardner. I've seen him enough in action over the past.
I did. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. I did that once. It doesn't work out.
So I'm not going to bet against Gardner. Who Moncton faces in the final, I think, is the more interesting question. So I have Chicoutimi right now. I think Chicoutimi. I think they're going to be that young team that is maybe a year ahead of schedule that we've seen many times over the years. I'm not overly confident in that, just because I'm not sure how the seeding is going to shake down. So maybe it might end up being Moncton Chicoutimi in the semis. I think the Western Conference is intriguing because it seems like the West is kind of wide open, and there might kind of be just a team that breezes through the first few rounds and, suddenly in really good spot come the final. So the West I'm intrigued by, but it's going to be a fun year in the East because all the powers are here, which is awesome. So hopefully I'm hoping that there's not some weird upset, so that the Final Four in the East is actually the true Final Four. So that'd be fun.
That's kind of what we said last week. Like, it's Shawinigan and it's Drummondville, and yes, Drummondville has the assets to move to make teams better, but they also have the assets to compete to get to a Final Four coming out of the East. So it will be intriguing, sir. But once again, we always enjoy having you on, continuing to further your lead in this race to be our number one guest.
Take that, Pat.
Yeah. Yeah, and following you is the guy that's in third place, so we're going to get to him. But once again, Jamie, glad to see you around the rink, and we'll have you back on around the trade period.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guest number 1 is out of the way. Should we get to guest number 2? He is ready. Are you ready?
We're all ready.
We are ready. We continue the Maritime Divisional Preseason Primer, and we head up into northern New Brunswick this time. They finished 30-31, 3-4. Which gave them a first-round matchup with Halifax, which maybe to the surprise of everyone, that they swept them. Not that they could beat them, but that they swept them. We're pleased to be joined by good friend of the show, Mr. Johnny Rocket. How are you, sir?
What's up, boys? How are you guys?
Not too shabby. I like how you're in the fancy studio. Thanks for doing
the
that.
Fancy studio here today, and for the first time, I think you guys are able to see my face, so hopefully it's not a big shock for all you fans.
No, they know who you are. They've seen you on our shows before, and they know how beautiful you are. The week you're having, bud. The Steelers are 2-0. The Q's about to start. I'm sure you went to some wrestling show with the mask, and is this not the best time of the year?
It's honestly the greatest time of the year, to be honest with you. Like, all the training camps and the NHL are starting. The Q is starting. The NFL is on. The Steelers are 2-0. What the heck do you want more? Actually, I won my fantasy league this week. So, frig, everything is great.
Holy, everything's coming up, Johnny Rocket. All right, let's get to the tough questions here for you. I guess I'll start where I usually start, and that's in the crease. Last year it was Keller. It was Fleming. To start the season, but now you're starting it with Fleming. He's played 40 and 37 games respectively the last 2 years. It's always easy to be a backup platoon guy as opposed to actually being the number one guy in game and out of game. I just wonder the confidence in him being a full-time starter, or is there a Christmas upgrade that you see with this roster?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, the goalies are the biggest question mark of all this team this year. We've kind of realized by default a few weeks ago that Gordy Dwyer decided to give the number 1 spot to Joshua Fleming, a 20-year-old, without any backup of a real backup name. I think against George Gallin with Samuel Quimper, but they were not like backup caliber. But all of a sudden, a gift out of heaven came in the waiver wire. Thank you for the new rule that they put in place. Mathis Langevin, an 18-year-old netminder, like 6'4" something, a big heck of a guy. We got him, and he played a full game in preseason and like a period in another game. He did pretty well. He has the size for sure. And I think it's Joshua Fleming's job to lose, to be honest with you. If we see the Fleming 2 years ago when he first came to Batters as a free agent, he will be the number 1 this year. If we see that Fleming we got last year, he won't last up until Christmas, or even he will probably lose his number 1 spot to Langevin if he goes well, or they will just go and acquire another goalie, because there's so many good 20-year-old goalie in the league, and some are not even in the league. Like Oliver Ciarlo is not even in the league. So I think that Fleming knows that it's his job to lose. And there's more pressure now that Langevin there compared to a Gallin or a Quimper. So again, we're not going to make it or break it with Fleming or not with Fleming, but that's my biggest question mark, is how Fleming will actually step up this year. I mean, he's an overager. He got 2 years of experience now, going on his 3rd year. He has an overager spot, which is a pretty big deal in the queue, and can only have 320 overagers. So I wish him all the best. If I had to put a $2 on that, I would say that he is not our number 1 goalie after Christmas. But I like to be wrong, so we'll see.
Yeah, looking over the roster, there's one thing that really jumps off the page at me, and that's there's no imports on the Titan. And it's usually, there's usually at least one, but not a single import. And most cases, imports are impact players. How much of a difference will that be in Bathurst this season? And have you heard anything about Vikas Vexnegs or Peter Sikora eventually landing in the North Shore?
Vic Vena, we can put an X mark on that guy. He signed BCHL. He's done. He's not going to play with us. So it sucks, especially that the Montreal Canadiens scout Martin Lapointe screw us up by saying that he was going to Blainville, which you can't say that in the queue. So the Titan drafted him, and they were not able to make a deal, and he basically signed in the AHL. So in the BCHL, sorry. So that's not going to happen. As for Sikora, I still have hopes that he will show up after Christmas. From what I heard from a couple of my contacts, he got like a big, well, not say a contract, but a lot of things were said to him that you're going to play like first line minutes, power play minutes, stuff like that in his team. In I think it's in Czechia. But when you look at the roster of that team, they're pretty packed, and that guy is an 18-year-old. So never know. If he's not happy there, he will just say, well, screw that. I'm going to go play top minutes with Bathurst, because he would fit exactly on our first line. Like, there's no doubt about that. If that guy comes in, he's on the first line. But as for now, I really like our roster. Yeah, I don't see that as a disadvantage not to take the opportunity to get like a European player. But at the same time, all the guys that we have here will do the job. I'd rather have young guns that we drafted play big minutes than a guy here for a year or maybe 2 years. But at the same time, I won't lie that when Vic Vena signed at the BCHL, I kind of panicked because, like I said, on the goalie section, I don't feel comfortable with Fleming, and with Vic Vena gone, Keller is not coming back. He was basically the default number one. That's exactly what is going on right now. So, like we said in the North Shore, squeeze the fist and hope for the best that that goalie tandem will make the job.
So, in what your season was last year and the way you guys kind of hit your stride with big 6'15" Milo Rollins scoring every goal against us he possibly could. I think I figured it out. He was like two points a game against Moncton in the 8 games they were playing. Like, it was just unreally stupid. We couldn't stop him. Losing Robert Orr, that's 2 of your top scorers. Colby Huggins was 3rd there. You might struggle to keep the puck out of your net with the 2 goalies if they have the season that nobody wants. Who's going to put the puck in the net for the Titan? Obviously, you got Belanger taking the next step, and Huggin and that, but Lollier. But who's kind of going to help put the puck in the net?
Well, basically, if we take a look at that, we're losing 54 goals just with Roland and Orr. So, and that's not counting the goals that we lost at Christmas trading Enneberry, Arsenault, and Higgins also. So that's a lot of goals that we lost. Some guys will need to step up. That is pretty simple. I can easily see Huggins scoring like over 30 goals this year. Same thing with Belanger, Gauguin, Lallier. They could probably reach a 20-25 goal depending how the season goes. But last year, we got a few guys that, in my book, underperform. A guy like Blake Pilgrim-Edward didn't put up the numbers that everybody would thought he would. So maybe that guy will step up this year and put 10, 15, 20 goals. Never know. A guy that like Dawson Sharkey that has 6 goals in 5 games in preseason, can he continue to put the puck in the net? We sure hope he does. A veteran like Mathieu Saint-Onge, maybe he can give us like 15, 20 goals also. But one thing that the Titan might help the Titans is that defense. We have some pretty offensive defensemen, like Buteau scored 14 goals last year at defense. Same thing with Perron with 10 goals. Laberge will get more power play time this year. We can sure put the putting in the net. But one thing that I like with this team is that they have 4 lines that can produce, that can put the puck in the net, that can make things happen. If you look at the roster without seeing any of the guys, you will see that we're pretty small at offense. We don't have a lot of big guys. We don't have any big guys other than Sharkey, but we will probably be one of the fastest team in the queue. So hopefully they will be able to compensate the size with the speed and basically score goals with breakaways and stuff like that, because They won't be able to play physical against like a Cape Breton that I think they only have one guy under 6 foot, which is freaking crazy. So hopefully that the speed will help them to create chances, score goals with the speed, and hopefully that a few guys will be able to step up. And on top of that, hopefully that some rookies will be able to make surprises and score goals too.
One of the moves made of the draft was bringing in Tyson Gauguin. He's a guy that was a first-round pick and should immediately be impactful in Bathurst. What do you see offensive-wise from him this season?
Well, I won't lie. I've never saw him play last year because when Rimouski came to Bathurst, he was injured. So at camp was my first sighting of him, and I was gladly surprised with the skills that he brings. He has a really, really good shot. He's really fast too. Pretty much all our offensive forward guys are fast. He's one of them. He was going to play probably on the second line, probably on the first power play also. So I think he will have a big year. So hopefully and honestly, between you and I don't think we really paid a lot for him at the draft. I was kind of surprised of the price that Dwyer got him for. So hopefully that it will be like a nice reward for him, because in Rimouski he was playing like a few shift per games on the fourth line. They didn't got any thing out of him, but he still scored 9 goals last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's his time to shine. And from what I heard, he's super happy to be in Bathurst. I know a lot of he's from Cap Petit, which is not that far of the North Shore. So I'm pretty happy to have him on our team. And he looks like a guy that has a really nice thinking mindset in the dressing room. He doesn't look like a baby that want to have everything for himself. He looks like a really nice guy. He's really nice with the fans. So I can't wait to see him officially as a Titan on Friday.
So I guess just the final one for me, and you basically know the last 2 questions, one from me and one from Jeremy, but this team surprised everyone. Sweeping Halifax last year. I picked them to beat Halifax, not a sweep. But then they lost in the second round. So there's 6 teams in the Eastern Conference that should do damage in the playoffs. And Bathurst, like we said last week, is the sneaky one. I want nothing to do with them. Let them play Cape Breton in the first round. The excitement is high up there. What is it? Is it second round? Is it Final Four? What is the expectation of this hockey club? Because I don't think last year you said it was second round. But obviously you build on that. Is that kind of where the bar is set now for the fans in the North Shore?
Well, I can't be like the spokesperson for the majority of the fans, but one thing is sure: don't believe and read what the few idiots are saying on the board, the French and English board. We all know a few guys there that but seriously, I think people are really looking forward to see like the very young core in action, because this team, I can't wait to see the numbers, because we will be like one of the youngest team in the league. We have 8 guys between age 16 and 17. Honestly, I won't lie. Last year, I think was how can I don't know how to say that in English, but
Well, say in French, Jeremy will translate it.
C'est comme un écran de fumée, like a fume screen, because we were no
Smoke screen.
Yeah, okay, smoke screen. There you go. Because we're not supposed to be that good. I mean, we still finished like 12, which is not that great, but we were not supposed to be there. We were not supposed to beat Halifax in the first round. And I hope not that people are thinking that we will freaking end top 6 this year, go into Final Four. It's not going to happen. Well, I want that to happen, but I know like with my heart, it's not going to happen. I think if we stay around like 10-12 like last year, it will be a big victory for the Titans, because we lost a lot of key guys from last year, and this team is really, really, really young. We got rookies, a 16-year-old rookie. We got some 17-year-old rookie. We got some 18-year-old rookie. We got a lot of rookies depending on the age. Not a lot of experience. I know some of our guys like Tyson Gauguin has a lot of experience. Bélanger has a full season also. Renaud also. But we're still really young, and some people that don't understand the Q they see last year we won the first round. This year, if we're not winning the first round, it's like it's a crappy season, which would not be the fact, in my opinion. But on the other side, I can totally see this team surprising a lot of guys, because the core has been here for like a full year now. Most of the guys were young last year. They're still here. And the chemistry of that team is one of the greatest chemistry I've ever seen in batters. The guys are, it's kind of weird to say that because it's not like, it's not proven, but back then you could really see like the Maritimes guy hanging together and the Quebec guy hanging together. There was like two clans inside of one team, but this team is a clan. They're one. So you can see like guys from Quebec hanging out with guys from Nova Scotia and stuff like that. So that, I think that's the main thing that Gordy Dwyer brought to the team, is like the bonding of that team is crazy. They're brothers. They're going to go to war together. And that's why I think they could surprise teams. Just look at last year. Bigelow, at this exact time, nobody would have thought that they would have been like crazy like that. That's not what I'm saying, that the Titan will do that this year, but there's always surprises each year. So why not us? Why not us finishing ahead of Cape Breton in the standing? Why not us like winning 2 rounds? Why not? But a lot of things will have to happen. A lot of things will have to jive together for that to happen. But I would not be one of the guys that would be like super surprised if that happened, because that group of guys has something special. And if they can stay healthy, stick to the plan, listen to Gordy Dwyer, they could make some damage. I honestly think, I know I'm a fan of the Titan, but I honestly think they could make some damage and surprise some people.
Well, you're not the only one. I said last week that I think they can keep up with Cape Breton. So hopefully we're kind of on the same page here. And I'm not one of the crazy fans that think that they're going to make it all the way to the finals. I don't think that.
Well, I'm not either. Trust me.
Yeah, I do think they have. I think their speed, their intensity will tick off a lot of teams, and I think that's what's going to cause them to be so successful. Is they're just going to jump on turnovers, and that's how they're going to capitalize on the opportunities, right?
Like, they can frustrate teams, and
they're going to frustrate teams. They're going to
be good on special teams and power play. I think second round is not out of the question for this hockey club again. No. And I think by the time, depending on what you add in net, or if you get the Fleming that you got a couple of years ago,
exactly.
This is a team like 2 years ago. We wanted nothing to do with Cape Breton. Cape Breton can play you guys in the first round. You guys can beat each other up going into round 2. But Jeremy's going to finish this bad boy off with the question that everybody's waiting for your answer to.
Of course, it's you probably know what's coming here, and of course, as I told Jamie, you have the ability to change once all the trades are done, or once we see the results after the first half. But I guess, who do you see in the finals in May, and who do you see representing the league in Rimouski?
I think the final will be a Maritime thing. I think Cape Breton and Moncton will face off in the final. It's not that I want to see Cape Breton there. It's just that I know how Sylvain Couturier loved to mortgage the future of any teams in this league. So he will probably mortgage like this team to get like freaking Justin Poirier at the trading deadline. God knows. But I honestly think that Cape Breton will make it to the final 2 with you guys. And I really think that Moncton will win the Gilles Coulter trophy. It's not because I'm here. It's because on paper, as of right now, you guys are by far the best team on paper. Again, everything could go down the drain after a month when the McDougall hasn't won a single game in 10. So, and especially that Rimouski lost their number 1 goaltender for 6 months. They got Saint-Hilaire, but Saint-Hilaire is not Quentin Miller. So, I really think that you guys will go in Rimouski with the Gilles Coulter trophy, and you will do this. You remove these two to Rimouski and win the Memorial Cup also.
So I can't see the camera right now, so I'll have to watch to see what he did.
Well, let's put it that way. The bad finger, read between the line.
You know what? Being a big NFL guy, like when the analysts pick the teams that are going to win and they all pick the same team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank God for Pat McNeil, because if you read Lullen Set's article, everyone in that article picked Moncton to win the league.
Mm-hmm.
4 out of 5 in this. We haven't given ours yet. Picked Moncton to win the league. So thank God for Pat. Yours, it might have been a full sweep between that article and ours. But Johnny Rocket, once again, we have the pleasure of having you on. Are you going to be making the trip to Moncton this year?
Well, depending on what are the dates, I'll give it a shot for sure because I want to bring my son this time to see the game. So hopefully there would be like an afternoon game on a Sunday or a Saturday. I could bring him to see the Avenir Center because I show him a few pictures of the draft and it was like mind blowing. Like, that's not the case of Irving. I was like, holy frick, no, it's not the case of Irving.
What are you doing in 10 days, big guy?
In 10 days?
10 days. The home
Is
opener.
there like an afternoon game in 10 days?
No. The home opener for Moncton is Bathurst at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I'll have to be an afternoon game. There must be one between Bathurst and Moncton for sure.
It's Saturday night. It's Saturday at 7 o'clock. Saturday night.
Yeah, well, my son after 9, he's dead. He's done.
Oh my God, was he Jeremy?
Yeah. Sorry, bud. Sorry.
Good.
We're gonna have to. It'll have to wait for Stone Cold Day, March 3/16. It's a Sunday afternoon.
So March 3rd.
March 16th, 3/16.
Oh, 16. Sorry. Okay.
Day.
Well.
What?
What?
All right, March 16th. Mark it on the calendar.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Right. Perfect, man. Well, again, appreciate you joining us and enjoy the year up on the North Shore.
And good luck to you guys also.
Thank you. Yeah, thank God for Pat picking the Eagles. And he had to. I mean, he got us to the finals, but man, that is a curse if everyone picks Moncton, and that's lofty expectations. And now we are going to get into our team and the expectations of this team. But just before we get into that, those two, I mean, kind of polar opposites. I'm a little bit surprised that Johnny Rocket's a little more timid on what this team could be based off what they did last year.
Yeah, I think it's all, you don't want to send a jinx your team, or I'm the same way. I don't want to absolutely talk about the world when it comes to the Wildcats. There's every team's going to have its their negatives, and when you have to point them out. It's we've said before, we're not a fluff piece. We're a podcast, and we've got our opinions, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to have some more better nights at the rink this season than bad nights. And but when the bad nights come around, we're going to have to talk about it. And I think that's kind of where he's at. He knows he recognizes the Titans are a young team, and that there's going to be bad nights. Every team has them, and that's just the preparation of being a fan. Is the expectations. You got to know what to expect from your team, and that's what makes him such a great fan. Is that he knows he's not going to go and they're not going to go and blow everybody out.
Yeah.
They're, even though they've preseason games, you could say that they count. Some people say they don't, but unofficially they beat Gardner McDougall twice already.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe that just gives some fans in Bathurst like that extra little bit of boost to think that they're going to do very well this season. And, I think that's where Johnny comes in and says, they're not going to sweep the season series against Moncton.
Yeah.
It's all about, what you think the team can accomplish. And he's clearly got the right mindset.
Yeah. And same with Tozer and St. John. I mean, he's a realist. Yeah. They got good young pieces and they went and got a 20-year goaltender. And that's generally why in the preseason, I kicked the questions off with goaltending because it makes a massive difference in this division, in this league. So let's one last training camp report and we'll talk about our team, eh?
All right.
Wildcast training camp report.
All right. So yeah, they lost the last game of the training camp, which could care less. They came out healthy, and that's literally all that matters. So now we get into let's talk about the team. Undefeated season. That's pretty much how this is going to go. Put it on the whiteboard. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you said it, not me.
No. This is we kind of have to be that. This is tempering your expectations on what this club's going to be. And then they're not going to come out of the gate. They'd love to come out of the gate on fire, but they're missing some pieces. They're going to be missing some pieces for at least the first 2 games. They get going in 48 hours in St. John, and maybe St. John and Charlottetown is the best 2 they could take on instead of a Bathurst, Cape Breton start, but you're going to have to face them eventually. And I think that's a lot of what these fans that are coming to the rink need to worry about is expectations. Yes, there's going to be some excellent nights, and yes, this team's going to grow together and they're going to play great. But right now I know that Gardner's the big name and the championships in the undefeated season, but this is a whole nother animal, and it just ramps up again. So that's why I never really count the preseason. There's 3 seasons in this. There's red and white season, there's preseason, and then there's regular season, and then playoffs is a completely different animal that we got a while to go to. But that's kind of where I'm at. It's just I want to see this team improve on last year and improve on structure and shutting things down.
Yeah, there's I've already said, on this show that I think they've made the necessary corrections, necessary moves to fix what we saw on the ice last season. And there's going to be a lot of really fun nights at the Avenir Center. And you're right when you say Charlottetown and St. John are probably the 2 best teams to face at the start of the season. Because will we have all 8 guys back from NHL camps? Absolutely not.
No.
We probably won't see a full roster until mid to late October.
Well, the NHL season starts October 8th.
Yeah. We have to take the Loshing injury into consideration here. Yeah. All indications is that he's going to be back 2 to 3 weeks into the season. That'll take us into, the Thanksgiving weekend, if you want to put it that way. So we're probably not going to see, what this team is capable of until after Thanksgiving. So if the first 6 games is a little rough,
and it's all divisional opponents,
that's
St. John,
okay.
Islanders, Bathurst, Halifax, Bathurst, Charlottetown. We don't even play Cape Breton at home until December.
And that's what, so that's what I mean. That's kind of the benefit of this season, of this league, is that we always have maritime opponents at the start of the season. I think there's a Quebec road trip in October. But we'll have our roster, in place by that time. So, the first weekend there will be some guys back.
Yeah.
Not all these 8 guys are, it's very possible that they could all go to NHL camps. I don't think it's going to happen. We know Keegan Warren's already back in town. So we're going to have our starter and our backup, I guess you want to put it that way, in place for opening weekend.
I think I could see 5 of the 8 going to NHL camps.
It's very possible. Yeah. So I think we'll see probably 3 guys, 2 or 3 this weekend in the lineup, and just wait for the other dominoes to fall. I think Pekarchik will probably get the longest look of all the 8.
Yeah.
So don't if you're buying tickets to the home opener to see Pekarchik, maybe hold off on that. But at the same time, buy your tickets for the home opener.
Yeah, because you'll get to see the other players in here. So now looking at this team, and we talked about the depth a couple weeks ago and what we're going to see from this crew. I've come on here the last 2 preseasons and talked about my worry with the power play and the issues with the power play. And it was really cool last year when we were the number 1 power play. Not when it mattered. We were the 19th out of 18 teams when we needed a power play goal. But I'm excited to see this team on the power play. And if this coaching staff has learned anything from the summer, I would say go back and watch the Halinka and put Caleb Denoyer dead center in the middle of the ice and let him be the bumper. Just give yourself options, because this is a scary ability to have 2 power plays being very, very good. And PK as well. I think special teams is going to be a massive factor in this team. Like, we were number 1 in power play, but we were like 14th in penalty kill. I think this has the ability to be 1 and top 5 penalty kill this season.
Yeah, you're right. There's going to be some improvements. If we see the same power play results as we did in the first half last season, amazing. Yeah. No, there cannot be a nosedive like we saw in the second half last year.
I think that's the scariest part for all the fans is we've seen the hot starts in first half in year 1 and 2 last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think we've it comes to the point where I think we can probably say that in the second half there was probably a room that was lost. We don't want to speculate here, but given the performances we saw and the results, there just wasn't that coach player relationship that you need to be a winning team, and I think that's kind of changed. I think there's going to be a serious buy-in on with Gardner and Taylor, and I think you'll see that all across the board, whether you're a first line player or you're a 15th forward or you're a top line defenseman or the 8th guy that rotates in and out every couple of games. There's this group I think is excited to be together. And I mean, you can see, the videos that they're posting with, Dylan McKinnon and Pekarchik. Do you think those two knew each other 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago? They might have talked, but to see them on the ice together and celebrating goals together and all this other stuff, it just shows that they've already kind of built a good relationship amongst the group. And, like Johnny said, like if Bathurst is going to be a tight-knit group, Moncton's going to be an even tighter group. Like you're finally seeing the community involvement already.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been calling for a few years now. And it's nice to see them, finally getting out there and greeting the fans and, having the coach deliver season tickets. I can't remember ever seeing that in Moncton. So that was kind of a nice touch that I enjoyed.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a tight-knit group. You can kind of already see it, and that's one of the things you've spoke to a few times in the offseason is we've made our moves early, and now this team can grow and build together. And, it's probably going to take till mid-October, maybe late October for this team to hit their stride. But once they do, and they're all working together, oh, Jesus, look out. I guess just before we get into our picks and everything, just one player. We usually do this. One player you're looking to take the next step for this hockey club.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking at, I just think his being drafted in the NHL is finally going to get this player to where we thought he would be maybe last year, but it wasn't there. Gabe Smith. I'm really excited to see him play and bringing the physicality in the preseason.
Yeah.
Don't know if we saw that from him last year, but it's nice to see him finally utilizing his size.
And he'll be healthy this year too. He missed the first half of the year last year. He only played 54 games. Yeah. And
there's a relationship there, with him, with the Smith family and the McDougall. So it's always nice when there's, that's something that they've known each other for years. So it's something that, there's going to be a comfortable level from Gabe Smith that we've never seen. So I'm really excited to see him kind of flourish this year and really prove why he's that a top nine guy. And I think he's going to take the next step and, playing with Sump probably and Lounsbury and maybe Cloutier along the lines as well. Like I think he's in for a very big season.
I like that pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I let you go first. So last year I took Mercier. I said, you got to stay healthy, get in the top 6, play with talented players, and all these players are talented. I went with a forward last year. I'm going to go with a defenseman this year. I haven't always agreed with him.
I know this is going.
I call him the Evan Bouchard of the Moncton Wildcats from the red line in. Great hockey player, bats pucks out of the air, keeps pucks, makes the good plays. I just need to see him take the defensive step, and it's Grenier. 6 goals, 30 assists last year. He's going to be playing with either Johansson, Mullen, Fortier, Jondron. I think a Mullen will be a good pair for him. I think that's a defensive defenseman that's, when I talked to him in the preseason, a two-way guy, but likes to stay at home. I just want to see a little bit more from Grenier in the defensive zone. Offensively, great player, makes things happen, and doesn't quite have the Bouchard bomb, but he's smart on that second power play unit. He got a little bit of a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to get that this year, but I think when he gets his opportunities, if he gets them, I think that's a player that defensively, if he can step up and really solidify that 4-5 defenseman for us, I think that's going to be so much beneficial to this back end. So that brings us to the Wildcats MVP. Last year, you went with Jacob Steinman. I went with Etienne Morin, who was going to lead the team in points. Missed it by that much. So I think we may have the same MVP. So we'll count to 3 and say the name. 1.
I don't know if we do.
Well, let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3.
Pekarchik.
Okay, we did have the same. It's for me, it's Pekarchik. 1 preseason game. This guy is going to be something. He's going to be dynamite for this hockey club, and my next sentence might lead him into the league MVP, but I think he's got the ability to put up 100 points.
Yeah, and I mentioned the name last week, Dmitry Yaskin. I think he had 90. It was either 99.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing year. People are thinking, given the talent on I actually saw it was actually, I laughed when I read it, but is there, given the players we have on this team this season, maybe it was you that said it, can someone break Connor Garland's single season scoring record?
Wasn't me.
And I look back and I was like, was it 128, 129 points? And I'm like, that's going to be tough to beat. It's going to be a while before somebody gets that many points in Moncton. B, there's no way in heck that Garden McDougall allows a player to take 2.5-minute shifts. So I don't see it getting to that point.
Was Garland drafted when he got to the first one?
I think he had a 120-ish point season, but still went undrafted.
Okay.
And then
because with Pekarchik missing a few games, it's going to be tough to get to that 128.
Yeah. So, 99 points from Pekarchik would be great. I think he gets over 100.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he gets over 100, especially who he's going to be playing with. So I think we're in for a pretty good year here. That first line is going to be dynamite. That second line is going to be dynamite.
That third line is going to be dynamite.
Yeah, the sooner we can get him back from St. Louis, the better. But at the same time, the longer he's around pros, the better. The better he's going to be.
Yeah.
The more he's going to be able to come back and say, instead of it doing this way, why not do it this way? But at the same time, you have Garden McDougall as a coach. Are you really going to question him? Probably not. Probably not the smartest move to do. But you could say, okay, well, how about we change it up? I think he's leadership wise. I think he's going to have an underrated. Probably not going to wear a letter, but is what he's going to bring to the team in terms of just seeing him. The energy he brings to the ice. He loves to score goals. Loves to celebrate goals. It's really going to get him going. And if he's almost
a little bit like Havanoff, the way he loves to score and celebrate. Better shape.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I've been able to say this about a player in Moncton. Game breaker.
Yeah.
Game. I think. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that he stays healthy. But I think we're in for a treat. Sucks he's only a 1-year wonder, but it's going to be
what a year it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun ride with him.
So we usually go rookie of the year. And there's one that's probably going to be rookie of the year, and that's going to be Schlender.
I think mathematically it's the only one that's there. Unless the Wildcats are like, okay, well, Simon Mullen's a first-year player. League-wise, Simon Mullen isn't considered a rookie. Chance, I don't think, is considered a rookie. The only rookie, by definition, would be Easton Slender.
I think they fixed that because there's not a lot of stars by the 05s.
No, there's not.
Chance,
I think it's
Chance is an 06.
Okay, so
Slender is
he's
an
considered
07,
rookie.
and Diamond is an 06. Like
Diamond, I don't think with no disrespect to him, I think we know where he's going in a couple of weeks, but
like Mullen at an 05 doesn't have it. Pekarchik doesn't have it as an 05. None of the 05s have it for their first year in the league.
So it's Chance and Schlender.
Yeah. So we're going to pivot and we're going to go Unsung Hero. It's one of the awards the Wildcats give out at the end of the year. So maybe they'll listen to us. Maybe they won't. Maybe we'll be way off. Unsung Player of the Year. I think it'll be Simon Mullen. I think what he's going to bring on the back end, and it's not very often I go a lot of defense here, but I just from the last 2 years of the D-core we had with zero structure in front of the net, I think what this group is going to be able to do in front of our own net and getting the puck up to our talented top nine is going to be unbelievable. I think Simon Mullen is going to be a big kind of calming factor for Grenier on the back end in the defensive zone, as well as just making the simple, easy plays. So my unsung player, you're not going to hear him about most nights. We may talk about him most of the time, but on the score sheet, I don't think you're going to see him a whole lot, but I think he's going to be one of the unsung heroes of this crew.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to go with a player that he's not going to be on the score sheet every night, but I think the acquisition of him will be huge. And the price that we paid will be a steal when the story is complete, and that's Pierre-Étienne Cloutier. I think given his size and what he was able to contribute on a young team in Quebec last year, I think we are in for. I think he's going to be a perfect fourth line player to really help out with Cooper Cormier and Riley Sampson and those guys there, Schlender. I think he's going to be a great role model for, to say role model, Cooper Cormier is also going to be the same age as Cloutier. And, Sampson was is a returnee that played a lot last season, but I don't think a lot of people know who he is. Yeah. And I think the unfamiliarity coming to the rink you're not going to be coming to the rink to see number 90. You're going to be coming to the rink to see 88 or number 5 or number 3 or number 6 or number 28, right? Yeah. But you're going to be leaving the rink saying
18.
Yeah, 18 as well. Well, that number 90 is something.
Yeah.
So that's I'm going to go with Cloutier because I really think it was one of those acquisitions that needed to be made, and the price that we paid for him is cheap for what he's going to be able to contribute to the team this season.
Yep, 100%. I just realized that Riley Sampson's no longer from High River, Alberta. Oh,
what?
Yeah, they moved him to Harvard Boucher, Nova Scotia.
Robbery.
Yeah, so let's before we get into the league MVPs, we'll go around and give our quick division winners. We'll start in the Western Conference. In the West Division, you've got Rouyn-Noranda, Blainville, Gatineau, and Val-d'Or. It's pretty easily going to be Blainville, I think, on this one.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I think Val-d'Or can be sneaky good. Rouyn-Noranda's still got Verreau.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's the Western Division, with the exception of Gatineau. To me, it's a toss-up. Yeah. Blainville has the experience and all that to win it. But Val-d'Or made some very smart moves. Rouyn-Noranda still have some returning players from last year.
They got Kyle Hagen back.
Yeah, they've Kyle Hagen. I think they still have Ty Higgins. They got Verreau.
Yeah.
They've still got some names on that roster that are going to be able to put some wins together. And there's again, Western Conference. They're going to be playing each other for the first 2 months of the season, probably.
Yeah.
So if Rouyn can get a few wins over Val-d'Or, get a few wins over Blainville, and so on and so forth. I mean, I think it's a three-way race
Mhm.
in that division. And I think Blainville wins it, but I think any one of those three teams can challenge.
Central Division, you got Drummondville, Victoriaville, Sherbrooke, and Shawinigan.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be a 2-horse race between Drummondville and Shawinigan until Drummondville decides to trade off. If they don't,
Mhm.
I think they have full-on ability to win this division.
100%.
I think if they move Gauthier and Mercier at Christmas, it is Shawinigan's division to win. I am on the side as much as I'd love to have Gauthier in a uniform and Mercer as a tandem that comes over. I think Drummondville looks at the Western Conference and goes, we have a shot to get to the Final Four, and then who knows what happens. I think Drummondville wins the Central Division, not by a lot, but I think they hold on, and I think they win the Central Division.
Yeah, just for just to be different, I'll take Shawinigan and I'll take Drummondville as second.
Yeah.
And then the other two can just fight with each other for third and fourth.
And then we get to the Eastern Conference, and probably same as the Maritimes, one of the tougher divisions in hockey. Baie-Comeau, Chicoutimi, Rimouski, and Quebec. I think it's Chicoutimi and Rimouski all year, back and forth and back and forth. And I'm kind of with Tozer. I think Chicoutimi is the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. I think they win that division over Baie-Comeau, but not by a whole lot.
Yeah. Baie-Comeau, again, another team, we don't know what direction they're going to take.
No.
Right? If they get an offer for JP, Justin Poirier, that is too good to pass up, I think that's probably they'll probably start selling off some assets. But if they don't get what they think he's worth, look what he did last year.
Yeah.
And if you're a player like him, you can only go up. So if he goes and repeats what he did last season,
they have both Beauliard brothers, don't they? I think they have both back.
I think they do, right? The oldest one didn't graduate, no, but I am almost positive that he's still around. So again, another perfect example. Like they could make some damage and do some damage, and maybe surprise Rimouski. Like this could be one of those things where Rimouski thinks they've got the division, handed to them because they're the host and they're going all in. But at the same time,
I got them finishing third in that division. So he's on Baie-Comeau's roster on the site.
Yeah,
both Beauliard brothers. So
they got him. They've got them. They've got JP. They've got
Jabez Seymour taking another step. Plord. Yeah, they got
and their goaltending is pretty good too.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, they could run away. They could surprise Baie-Comeau. They could surprise Rimouski and win this division, because we've said a few times Rimouski has some moves to make to be a host, right? So Baie-Comeau could very well, maybe have a scary good first half and scare Rimouski to the point of Rimouski overpaying. And
more than they're already going to have to.
Yeah.
Because teams aren't going to help them out. Teams are going to hold them hostage. Like, oh, you need this guy? Oh, well, I mean.
But at the same time, if Rimouski, we know who has I think he still has a roster number on the jersey number on the site, and that's Bradley Nadeau.
Yeah.
He can't go back to the BCHL. He can't go back to UMaine because he signed an NHL contract. It's either AHL or Q or NHL, right? So I think
he does number 82.
Yeah, so he's got a jersey number. So Rimouski might be holding off for maybe a splash after Christmas, wait for him to maybe make Canada's World Junior team and then get him to Rimouski after, and it's all this other stuff. But that's one of those things to keep an eye on. That's if they can end up landing Bradley Nadeau, that's a top tier player for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's something you got to keep an eye on. I am taking Rimouski to win the division just based on.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, just based on what I think they'll do at Christmas time to improve their team. But Baie-Comeau, they'll keep close if they decide to just stand pat and kind of see what they can or how much they can keep up with them.
All right. I did not think the whole lead up. I thought it was going to be like And take Chicoutimi.
No, it's for me. It's I think that's going to be such a fun division to watch.
Yeah, it's too bad we only get to play those two teams or those three teams twice each.
And as good as Chicoutimi is, I still think Baie-Comeau is better than them.
Yeah.
So I think Chicoutimi will be,
third in the division,
which is going to be an extremely favorable seeding for them.
Yeah,
going into the the first round, and possibly the second round.
All right, in the Maritime Division, it's pretty simple for me. It's Moncton, Cape Breton, Bathurst, Charlottetown, Halifax, St. John. I got Charlottetown going ahead of Halifax because I have Rousseau not finishing the year in Halifax, and depending on what kind of goaltender they get back, they might just kind of sell a few assets and kind of go for broke and try and get that lottery spot for that 15-year-old kid or 16-year-old Langlois or whatever his name is.
Lexi Joseph. Yeah. That's what you want to feel old.
Yeah, I do.
One of the top prospects in Quebec this year is the son of Jason Pominville.
I heard that name and I was like, Pominville, there's only one guy. Oh yeah, man. It's you watch the NFL, like Marvin Harrison's son, Marvin Harrison Jr. just had like 3 touchdowns on Sunday. I'm like, yep, I'm that age. That's cool.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem like Marvin Harrison was playing like it just seems like a few years ago. So that's when I saw I feel old just looking at that. And no, for me, I mean, this is a Wildcats podcast, right? So of course we're going to take Moncton to win a division, Cape Breton second. I think Bathurst is third. And then the other 3 is a fight.
Yeah.
Charlottetown probably has the leg up on St. John and Halifax. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if St. John, just based on their youth movement, if they finish ahead of Halifax, I think Halifax is kind of in for maybe a tough year, but we'll see. Yeah, so Moncton hopefully wins the Maritimes division.
Yeah. All right, league MVP.
League MVP. You go first on this one because I don't want us to have the same pick here.
I hemmed and hawed.
Is it first question? Will Cataford be back to back?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't have picked him last year either. So last year I picked Gauthier. You picked Borash.
That was a bad pick.
I mean, you technically talked about Verreau and Borash feeding off one another. My guy is in the Eastern Conference. He's in the Eastern Division, and he's just going to be so much better. And I think it's Justin Poirier. I think he is the MVP. Is that your MVP? And that's why, like earlier, I said Pekarchik is in that discussion. But I think I
didn't think you were going to
the 100 to. I even wrote it down earlier. 100 to 110 points, and I think Poirier exceeds that. I think Justin Poirier is the force that's pulling Baie-Comeau in their division. And I don't know if he's going to stay in Baie-Comeau. He might go somewhere like Rimouski, and they overpay a lot for that. But yeah,
you know who his agent was?
Yeah, Taylor McDougall.
Yeah,
I think you got Poirier as an MVP. So I'm just going to write Poirier down for you as well.
Well,
I think Pekarchik
I'm kind of there
in that discussion as well.
I was going there.
I'm shocked. I thought you were going to go Bradley Nadeau. I thought the fact that he was back and he could be such a difference maker for Rimouski, I honestly thought you were going to go Nadeau. Just
because I know he's not going to be there in the first half, right?
Yeah.
For league MVP, it was just he wouldn't have enough games played. I put me down for JP as well, but I think the league MVP is in the Eastern Conference. I think that's pretty much dead set.
Yep.
You know what? Scratch that.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing a pivot here. I'm going to
pivot.
I know my pick of Borash last year was not so good. And we've got to please our loyal listeners. So league MVP, put me down for Cam Squires.
All right.
Yeah. Put me down for Cam Squires. I'm I gotta please the Drew Bear. He's gonna enjoy it when he hears that.
Yeah, he's
Just
a very good player.
I don't want I like when we're different.
Yeah,
Right.
I bet Rookie of the Year will be different.
Rookie of the Year will be different. Because off the record, before we started doing this, I kind of hinted, and he didn't know who the heck I was talking about.
Nope. And I went and looked, and I couldn't find a roster, and none of the names jumped out as a rookie that's playing for them. So last year, Rookie of the Year was the one I got right.
Emile Guité.
Yeah. Because Denouye was a 200-foot player. Guité was the scoring player. So I am going to check something to make sure that he made the team, which I'm pretty sure he did. Show's going a little long, but that's what happens when we end the preseason.
Who are you thinking of? What team?
Yeah, he's there. He will wear number 72. He is in the Western Conference. He was the 3rd overall pick. It is Chad Ligastakos.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's my number 2.
That's my Rookie of the Year.
That was my number 2.
Because I just wanted to say Ligastakos and hope I got it right. But I was doing actually some reading on that Lull Inside article, and he was one of the names that popped up, and I'm like,
yeah,
like Desjardins is the name that a lot of people are going to focus on, but I think Ligastakos is the Rookie of the Year.
When I believe it or not, when you sent me the kind of the the itinerary, I call it the itinerary, show doc, whatever it is, that's the first name that came to my mind. But then I started thinking, and I was like,
we've been doing this too long.
I'm also taking a player who is right now in the Western Conference, but in a couple of weeks will be in the Eastern Conference, and that is Matvei Gradin, who will be traded very shortly from Val d'Or to Rimouski.
Oh,
this is embarrassing. Right now he's at Calgary Flames training camp, and the expectation is that when he is reassigned by the Flames, his rights will be traded from Val d'Or to Rimouski. Matvei Gradin.
Was he drafted?
Val d'Or took him in the import draft.
That's why he can be traded. The import, you son of a bitch.
I got some money, baby.
I did not think Euro draft. I went.
Yeah. So this is a kid who played USHL last year, 83 points in 60 games, over a point per game in the USHL last year as a 17-year-old. And I think he just comes in this season as an 18-year-old. It's probably cheating. I'm not a big fan of taking Euros as Rookie of the Year, but he's a rookie, considered a rookie. If there's an X beside his name, it's a rookie, so I'll take him. Put me down for Matvei Gradin.
Gradin, all right. That leaves us one thing left. That is our Gilles Courteau Trophy final and winner. Just to recap the Maritime Division Preseason Primer, Colin from the Moose fans took Moncton and Rwanda. Pat took Moncton to win. Pat took the Eagles, and Moncton took the Eagles to win. Corey, Arsenault, Jamie Tozer, and Johnny Rocket all took Moncton to win. Corey took him over Cape Breton. Johnny took him over Cape Breton. And Tozer went off the board a little bit with Chicoutimi. Do you want to handle this first? So last year, I took Drummondville against Victo. Really wanted to pick, if you go back and listen, I say I really want to pick Baie-Comeau, but I just don't know because the league sets to the top 4 where they were going to be. And you took Rouen and Moncton. And you also wanted to take Baie-Comeau because they were hard to ignore with the team they had. So technically, I was the only one to get one team in there. That's how that works. But I think I can speak for both of us when we've got Moncton in the final.
So what I said last year, I don't, as much as I think Moncton will make the final, as much as I want them to make the final, I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last year.
No.
And say that they're going to go all the way to the final.
Right.
Because I'm very superstitious. Again, let me repeat what I just said. I think they will. I want them to.
Yeah.
but
Don't hear what he's not saying, folks.
from a standpoint of superstition, I cannot. So I will go Rimouski against Cape Breton.
So Cape Breton's headed to the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
All
Just
right.
I can't. I'm probably going to get some angry messages here from some of the.
Don't hear what he's not saying.
Yeah, read between the lines here, people. I think they will.
Yep.
I want Moncton to.
Yep.
But I cannot say it just because of what I said last year.
Exactly. So one of those two teams is guaranteed to go to the Memorial Cup.
I'm gonna have my pom poms.
So don't hear what he's not saying. I'm not that guy because I didn't take him last year. Yeah. I'm going to take Moncton in the final, and I'm going to take them. Oh, the problem is it switches over to the top four. If you had an East versus West, every year I'm going to say this, and I know you're going to get the best two teams in the finals, but Drummondville has a 2-year window if it's an East versus West, and they be in that final against Moncton. But I'm not going to take Drummondville. I don't think it's going to be Moncton Cape Breton. I think Cape Breton and Moncton is a second round series if that's how this thing shakes out. I got Moncton as the top team in the league. And I think they're going to the Memorial Cup, and I don't necessarily think they have to win the trophy to get there. I think Rimouski, while finishing third in the division, that they've got or second in their division, I think they're going to get a bit of a favorable schedule. And I've got Moncton and Rimouski in the final. So
nice.
we're getting to the Memorial Cup.
Yep. Back door or front door?
Oh, front door. We're
front
kicking.
Door? Okay.
I said as soon as that BS came out, we're kicking in that front effing door. Mm-hmm. Didn't swear because we're on Rogers TV.
Of course.
But
you did swear earlier, though.
Yeah, I did say the B word. Yeah, so that's our final. So yeah, we both got Rimouski, so maybe that's
again. Let me just again for those who are watching and those who are listening, let me recap what I said.
Yeah.
I think Moncton will. I want Moncton to. Just can't say it.
Yeah. That is 100% correct.
I'm gonna have my pom poms on every night at the Avenir Center.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
But I can't say it.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of the old preseason. It is finally done. As you see on the ticker scrolling across, the Wildcats schedule gets going this Friday in St. John. Again, thanks this week for joining us. Jamie Tozer, Station Nation, Johnny Rocket from Bathurst from Insight to end our division preview. We are 48 hours away from the regular season opener in St. John, 10 days away from the home opener against Bathurst, September 28th. Tickets are still available for that game. And then Sunday, the 29th against Halifax, it is the Reconciliation Day game.
Oh, yes. National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, September 30th. Which I believe is a Monday. Holiday
for most.
Yeah.
Some of the theme nights, just if you want to go to a game, but you don't want to get the flex, you don't want to get the season tickets, you're just like, I kind of want to pick a certain night. Couple highlights here. September 29th is a Reconciliation Day game. November 10th, Remembrance Day game. Hockey Fights Cancer is November 30th. December 14th is a Christmas game and food drive. And just like last year, for absolutely no reason, the Teddy Bear Toss is after Christmas. It is December 28th. Our friend Wild Willie, it's got a birthday this year, January 3rd. January 3rd is his birthday.
Oh, they're actually doing a Wild Willie party. Okay, good.
So
good.
Hopefully we get a bunch of different mascots. Acadian Heritage Night is February 15th. The St. Patrick's Day game is March 16th. And Fan Appreciation Game is March 21st. Again,
we're all waiting for 90s night.
Yeah. And if you're going to go 90s night, you got to get 90s jerseys, and you don't.
That's
jerseys,
right.
So. But yeah, don't forget you can hear us on the Q103 Go Home Show with Brock Gallant this year, talking about what had happened and what's about to happen, updating you on the Wildcats. We're going to be on Rogers TV each and every week. And yeah, that's it. Games count for real, Jeremy. Games count for real.
I got my pom-poms.
For Jeremy, I'm Adam. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.